Hey guys, welcome back. So I want to start a new series. This is basically a devlog series of how I am making a game from scratch as a solo developer with limited contacts and limited budget and publishing it on Steam. I want to make sure that the product which I make is of good quality and let's see how it goes. So one of the goals for this year is to make a game and publish it on Steam. And the reason I'm making these vlogs is basically to show you what hurdles a solo developer can face and how I can overcome them. This serves as a way where I can keep myself accountable by consistently producing vlogs and also share my learnings with you all. It will also be a discovery process for me because it's something new which I'm doing, and let's get started. So the mistakes which I made previously when I was making a game was most of the games which I made was something which I was not that interested in. One of the things which I'm changing this year is to make a game which I can play and which I can enjoy. So the genre which I most enjoy is action adventure and FPS shooter, and I'm going ahead with FPS shooter because I feel I can. It has limited animations compared to a third-person shooter, so that's the reason I'm going with a first-person shooter. And I want the gameplay to be very snappy and quick. So the three major points when I'm making this game was the gameplay should feel crisp, the level should be limited inside like time, and it needs to be finished quickly, and there should be a replayability feature. So these are the three major things which I'm looking at when I'm making this game. So the second mistake which I was making previously was I didn't have a plan when I was starting out a project. But this time I'm starting with a different angle. I learned this from my game jam which I recently participated in, that planning is really important when we have a vision or a project in mind, like a creative endeavor. So for this, I started looking around project management tools, and one of the tools which I found was Notion, which I'll be using for my project planning. So basically, I have four columns in Notion. It's a backlog column, a to-do column, a in-progress column, and completed column. So within these, there will be like a sprint which a particular task is at, uh, what's the priority of that particular sprint, like what's the complexity level and priority, what's the domain, whether it's like animations, programming, art, or something, uh, and also I had a time estimate of how much time it might take. So these are the criterias which I sorted out, and I made a dashboard out of it. If you want a template, do let me know, I'll share it with you people. So once I had a template in place, I made use of an AI assistant to come up with tasks. So the AI assistant which I used was Claude. So I used a desktop app of Claude, and another app called Super Whisper. It's basically an app which converts speech to text. So whatever I feel that rather than typing everything out, I feel that it's better if I just talk everything and then it just shows up on the Claude app. So I explained everything to the app, and there was a lot of to and fro, like what I really need, what is my vision, what is my game idea, what are the mechanics which I'm looking at, what are the types of features which I'm looking into. I blurted out everything to the app, like to Claude, and Claude was very good in organizing each of this. It came up with high priority ones, with what needs to be done. It broke down each task, and it came up with an Excel sheet of what I need to do exactly for the next 4 or 5 months. And I also mentioned the time constraints which I have, so I can spend around 1 to 2 hours a day during my weekdays, and during the weekend I can spend around 4 hours. I gave all the time constraints to it, and it came up with everything. And using that, I started filling out Notion. I started filling out the tasks. It's still a work in progress, but it's a good place to start with. So once I had all the tasks in place, Then I started picking up one by one. So the first task which came up was related to animations. So I was not at all familiar with animations. I don't know how it used to work before, and this was a pretty new thing for me. Or I had to make a FPS animation, like the character animations. So the first thing which I did was go to the Fab store to see if any of the animations I can use in my game. But when I saw most of the animations used in Fab, it did not fit my needs, what I needed to do for my project. So I felt it's better if I do it from scratch rather than getting a pre-built animation. So that's the reason I started learning about how animation works, like keyframe animations especially. And I used Unreal's control rig to come up with certain animations. So the animations which came up were the idle animation of the character without any guns, the idle animation with the three weapons. Like I have a axe, I have a shot, I have a handgun, and then I have a AK-47. These three weapons. Once I had the idle animations in, I implemented weapon switching. So when the character switches from one weapon to another, a different animation shows up. So I worked on these animations and I was quite happy with the results. But it was a slow process. I took some time to learn how it works, but the quality was good, I felt. But I also started implementing like the shooting. Like for the axe, I just had a chop animation, and for the guns, the shooting animation, and that turned out quite good too. So once I had that, I had to look into reload animation. So with reload, that was the major hurdle which I faced. So with the handgun, the reload worked good. I was happy with it. But when it came to AK-47, the reload was not that great. I didn't like the output of it. I spent a lot of time and I didn't like it. So I decided I might not go with the reload feature at all in the game. I'll just use the current magazine which the player has, and once the magazine fills up, the player just throws the gun at the enemy. That's what I thought of having. So that say the in that way, I feel the quality will not be compromised, and I can use this particular animation in game. So once I had these in, uh, the next process was to implement it in game. So when for example, if I scroll right, the weapons need to switch. So I started implementing that with the input press. I used the enhanced input subsystem of Unreal, and using enhanced input subsystem, I changed the guns accordingly. And uh, when it scrolls, I had an enum, and based on the enum, the animation used to play, and the animation blueprint takes care of the idle animation after that. So I implemented all of this. Once I had that, I started looking into how shooting works. I had to use the line trace channel of Unreal, and I had to implement that. I had to make sure that it detects the collision with like I had to mention the range of the bullet. So there's a different range for a handgun. There's a different range for AK-47, and based on the range, I used to put out a line trace and detect the line trace accordingly. So once I had that in place, the shooting was taken care of. And when I did the shooting, the correct animation used to play. And based on the animation, I also had to have sound effects and a VFX, like a shooting VFX. I just made use of some free assets for shooting for the gun and the handgun and the AK-47, and I'm okay with it for now. But once I had that in place, uh, most of the systems were taken care. I also implemented the reload feature just in case. So the once the clip magazine completes, the player reloads the gun. So I implemented that in. So based on this, I had the two weapons. I'm planning to have around four weapons in the game, five including a knife, a handgun, a AK-47, and a sniper. So that makes it four. So I want to have four weapons in the game. And right now I've done two weapons. So I need to do a knife and sniper. but for now I'm okay with this. Once this was the progress which I made this week. Next week I'll be looking into the sprint system. I want to start working on the sprint animation and all the fun stuff. So if you like this content, please give a follow, and thank you for watching.